Reporting live from DRK Media, my name is Dana McCulloch.
And I'm Rebecca Gortz.
We are here today to raise awareness for the misportrayal of refugees regarding today's refugee crisis.
We hope that you can recognize the differences of the portrayal of refugees and recognize that mainstream media sources elaborate the negative aspects of refugees fleeing their home countries for a better life.
Around the globe, there are approximately 60 million people who have been forced to leave their homes to escape war, violence, and persecution. The majority of them have become internally displaced persons, which means they have fled their homes but are still within their own countries. Others have crossed a border and sought shelter outside of their own countries. They are commonly referred to as refugees.
In this first video, think about how countries could have better provided the transportation for refugees coming into their countries.
This is the driving force. So they will continue to do anything which is necessary in order to bring themselves and their family into a safe place. And so the problem is how to manage this situation. And of course, you have to manage this in two ways. First of all, addressing the root causes, making real political solutions for these problems.
Did you recognize how they said refugees are taking unnecessary dangerous trips to find safe haven? Do you agree that wealthy countries should have provided safer transportation, better boats or flights?
I think yes, it would be nice for the host countries to provide a safer transportation for the refugees coming into their country. Everybody's human and everybody deserves the same kind of respect that you would want. If you were in their shoes, you would really appreciate the country welcoming you in to provide you with a better transportation to ensure your safety and ensure that you arrive alive, essentially.
Okay, I can also see the other side because some people may think that no, they're not in my country, it's not affecting my country at all. My country has more important things to worry about, spend their money on, spend their time on.
Yeah.
So I think my country should focus on that issue and the countries that the issue is affecting, that they can focus on it. So I can see both sides, but I do understand your side as well.
I agree. In the next video, we will examine how the power hierarchy and civil unrest is forcing families to flee their countries to seek safety in a refugee camp a very long distance away.
The family fled the Congo due to civil unrest, eventually finding their way to a refugee camp 1,600 kilometers away.
Do you think that countries are having difficulties accepting refugees into their homelands because they do not want refugees entering the countries, or because of the legal implications?
At least 18 people have drowned off the Turkish coast today trying to reach Greece. This is Macedonian authorities imposed even further restrictions on refugees that are trying to cross that Greek border. These developments come a day ahead of a summit between the European Union and Turkey.
In this video, we saw that the processes of accepting refugees is difficult because of legal implications rather than because of society not being welcoming.
In the next video, it will provide a shocking fact that there is a large number of people dying unnecessarily.
They're fleeing real, horrors. And so these objects are real things taken from the ship. MSF, Doctors Without Borders, got involved because people were dying. As you said, almost 4,000 people were dying unnecessarily.
Do you think it is possible for our society to prevent these large amounts of deaths in the future?
In this clip, pay attention to the terminology used regarding the situation.
The journey out of Greece was so much different than the journey in. A ride in a bus to a waiting boat, escorted on board by a squad of Greek riot police, and deported back to Turkey as illegal immigrants.
It shocked me when the news reporter mentioned that the riot police worked so hard to return the immigrants back to Greece when they could have used that effort elsewhere, for example, providing for the immigrants in ways that they needed.
Let's watch the next clip and see what they say.
Well, I think integration is the story of refugee resettlement both in Canada and the U.S., and the Europeans really have not had integration programs that have proven to be effective. They've barely tried.
The news reporter said that there are plenty of integration programs in North America, but Europe has not tried to establish these programs. This means that Europe has the resources to assist the refugees but simply chooses not to. Do you think this is a reflection of Europeans as a whole or of the government?
In the next clip, we will examine how large the populations of people are that are migrating with no certainty of their destination and timeline.
to 50,000 refugees now stuck in Greece.
Could you imagine standing with 50,000 other people from your home country and being unsure of if you will be accepted into the new country or if you will be sent back to the country you're fleeing from?
How and who gets to decide who is a legitimate refugee and who is not just because of one's ethnicity? The definition of refugee by the United Nations Refugee Agency of Canada is someone who has been forced to flee his or her country because of persecution, war, or violence.
Now let's watch another clip regarding some controversial terminology around the word swap.
These refugees, if we could call them that, migrants, would be sent back from Greece to Turkey, and in turn for that, Europe would then accept refugees now inside Turkey, a swap of 1 for 1.
Do you think that it was appropriate for the news reporter to say a swap of 1 for 1 regarding the refugees trying to enter Greece?
No, you don't swap people, you swap hockey cards. In all of these mainstream clips, refugees are treated very poorly and sometimes inhumanely. Throughout the videos that we've critiqued this far, the common theme of refugees is that they are a nuisance, they will never be integrated into Western society, and many people believe that helping the refugees is essentially pointless.
In the mainstream videos, the majority of the refugees did not have a personal connection to the audience. They were shown with little identity acknowledged, if any at all. In the alternative clips, you will see that they are given identities and much closer to the actual camera as they are talking to the audience themselves.
Now we will focus on alternative news sources, including videos from organizations such as UNICEF and World Vision. While watching the next set of clips, try to pick out some new themes that occur across the videos that differ from the mainstream videos we have already watched. Syrian refugees are people, and there are organizations out there willing to help them.
In this video clip, it includes a statement from a young Syrian refugee who has dreams to become a doctor and to provide for her society, including the poor.
أنا صرت دكتورة مشان للأطفال. الأطفال إذا أجوا علي ما بيعطوني مصاري ولا شيء، بكتب لهم ورقة، بعطيهم دواء، بغزن إبرة، بتروح.
UNICEF give a voice to Aya to prove that Syrian refugees do have dreams and that they do want to contribute to society. This clip showed that they are not just expecting everything to be handed to them for the rest of their lives. UNICEF is also giving a voice to women and children with this clip because it shows that there are more people than just men coming from refugee camps expecting aid.
Next, we will look at a clip from UNICEF about 2 teen boys that are fleeing from Syria to start a better life in Germany.
ناوي أنا أجي إنه أصير فخام إنه بألمانيا ولا أصير شغل كبير، إنه بدي شغلة نخلص عيش مع أهلي هون بالمنطقة بكفي إنه في حرية في نظام لا ما بخاف يطلع من البيت، إنه ما في حدا يأذينا ما في حدا يعادينا.
These boys simply want safety in their lives, which is something that every human being deserves. Like in the previous few clips, the refugees are not asking for everything to be given to them. They are willing to work for what they need and will appreciate the safety and protection provided by the welcoming countries.
As we have seen earlier in the mainstream media, a lot of the refugees were adult men. Although in this clip, it shows a compelling fact that children are the first victims of conflict and displacement experience.
انقطع الأكل عنا وصار البرد. فجينا لهين احنا قادمنا الحروب فوقنا، جينا اللي جاي هين ما في لها ضرب ولا حروب خالص شيء.
Did you notice in the background of the young girl speaking, their living situations were very poor and dirty? Yet, the young girl is extremely happy with what she has because she knows she is safe from the war here. This shows that refugees are not looking for anything other than safety.
يعني كيف بتلاحظي عليه انه عنده مشكلة؟
المنامة وشوية جوع. والله كلياتنا نفس
بشكل عام يعني.
لا بشكل عام عاديين الأولاد، يعني هلا بعد ما جينا لهون في أمان بس بيخافوا بالليل شوي لما يسمعوا صوت طيارة أو صوت موتوسيكل يعني بيخافوا أو صوت سيارة قوي صوت شوي بيرتعبوا، بس هلا شوي شوي عم يتأقلموا صار في أمان بس هو.
Did you recognize that the refugees are more concerned with their health and well-being of their families than the wealth and materialistic things in life? We think this is crucial for the general public to understand about refugees because we feel like the mainstream media has made the refugees seem more demanding for a brand new house, while the alternative media proves that the refugees are asking mainly for safety and some food and maybe a shelter until they can get on their feet.
Get your Kleenex box out for this next clip. World Vision put together a video of Canadian children warm-heartedly welcoming Syrian refugees into our country. This video shows that not all Canadians are opposed to the idea of supporting Syrian refugees.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Canada. Welcome to Canada. Welcome to Canada. Bienvenue au Canada. Welcome to Canada. Welcome to Canada.
Let's just take a moment to appreciate the warm welcoming from our country to the Syrian refugees. Although many refugees have escaped the war and civil unrest of their countries, the crisis is still happening and leaves many people with lots of questions. It is important for everyone to appreciate the good things in life and do not take for granted the loved ones they have nearby.
Aya can't look into the future. She doesn't know if she can go back to Syria. She finds a way to smile, clinging to those that are most dear to her, and dreams of an end to the war.
In summary, all refugees dream of a happy and safe future, but unfortunately this will not happen for many. As a united nation and globally, we must work together to solve the Syrian refugee crisis. We hope our alternative news segment will help you critique and analyze news media in the future. Thank you and have a good night.